Are your likes and shares truly reflections of your authentic self, or subtly guided echoes? What if the connections you forge online are not entirely of your own choosing, but carefully curated by unseen algorithms? And what if these subtle nudges, these digital breadcrumbs, are reshaping your thoughts, rewiring your very perception of reality? The human desire for connection and validation is as old as humanity itself. From gathering around communal campfires sharing stories to our current immersion in algorithmic echo chambers, we have always sought to connect with one another, to share experiences, and to find belonging. However, this fundamental need is now being exploited on a scale previously unimaginable. In the 20th century, Edward Bernays, considered the father of public relations, pioneered the art of mass persuasion, using psychological principles to influence consumer behavior and shape public opinion. Now, social media platforms have taken Bernays' techniques and amplified them through sophisticated data collection and algorithms, creating personalized manipulation on a scale never before seen. Yet, despite our constant immersion in these digital environments, the profound psychological impact of social media on our minds remains largely unexplored, hidden beneath layers of carefully crafted interfaces and persuasive algorithms. So, how are these digital forces subtly rewiring our brains, shaping our perceptions, and impacting our journey toward individuation, our quest to become our true selves? And perhaps even more importantly, how can we recognize and resist these manipulative mechanisms, these unseen forces that seek to control our attention and shape our desires? This exploration will delve into the dark psychology of social media, revealing how it exploits our deepest vulnerabilities and offering strategies for reclaiming our mental autonomy, a journey that may lead you to a more authentic and empowered self, free from the addictive loops and curated realities of the digital world. In this exploration, we will trace the manipulative mechanisms used by social media platforms, from the allure of likes to the endless scroll of curated content, and we will examine their echoes of ancient archetypes within our collective unconscious. We'll uncover practical techniques for breaking free from the addictive loop and cultivating a healthier, more conscious relationship with technology, learning to discern our own authentic desires from those manufactured by algorithms. By engaging with this exploration, you won't just gain intellectual understanding. You'll acquire practical tools to reclaim your focus, protect your mental well-being, and cultivate a more conscious and fulfilling relationship with technology. Let's begin our journey into the digital shadows and uncover the path to reclaiming our minds. Have you ever wondered why the promise of a simple like or a fleeting notification can hold such irresistible power over your attention? What if this seemingly harmless digital validation is actually a carefully engineered mechanism, tapping into the very core of your brain's reward system? Social media platforms, often without our conscious awareness, have mastered the art of hijacking our neurochemistry, specifically targeting the dopamine system to keep us hooked on their endless streams of content. Dopamine, often mistakenly associated solely with pleasure, is actually a neurotransmitter primarily responsible for anticipation and craving. It's the wanting, rather than the liking, that drives us to seek rewards. Think of a gambler anticipating the next card flip, or an addict craving their next dose. This surge of dopamine creates a powerful motivational drive, compelling us to take action. Now, contrast this natural dopamine release with the highly manipulated dopamine release orchestrated by social media. Instead of being triggered by genuine achievements or meaningful connections, our brains are flooded with dopamine in response to superficial interactions. A fleeting like, a trivial comment, a meaningless notification. This creates a dangerous shortcut, bypassing the need for real-world effort and accomplishment. The key to this manipulation lies in what's known as a variable reward schedule. In essence, we receive these rewards, likes, comments, notifications on an unpredictable, intermittent basis. This unpredictability is what makes the system so addictive. If we received a like, Every single time we posted, the novelty would quickly wear off, and the dopamine release would diminish. However, because the rewards are delivered randomly, our brains are constantly anticipating the next hit, driving us to check our phones compulsively and refresh our feeds endlessly. It's like a digital slot machine, where the occasional jackpot keeps us pulling the lever, hoping for that next fleeting moment of validation. Consider the endless scroll of content on platforms like TikTok or Instagram. Each swipe offers the potential for a new and exciting reward, a new burst of dopamine, further reinforcing the addictive cycle. These likes and other forms of social validation tap into a fundamental human need, the need for social acceptance and belonging. For millennia, our survival depended on being part of a tribe, on being accepted and valued by our peers. Social media platforms have cleverly exploited this deeply ingrained need, creating a system where our self-worth is increasingly tied to the number of likes and followers we accumulate. The pursuit of these digital accolades can become a primary motivator, overriding intrinsic rewards like creativity, personal growth, and genuine connection. We become performers, constantly curating our online personas to maximize social validation, sacrificing authenticity in the process. Ultimately, social media platforms are expertly designed to exploit our dopamine system, using variable reward schedules and social validation to keep us perpetually engaged, often at the expense of our mental well-being and authentic selves. But the story doesn't end there. The dopamine loop is just one piece of the puzzle. What other mechanisms are at play, shaping our behavior and keeping us glued to our screens? Let's delve deeper into the world of operant conditioning and uncover another layer of manipulation. Beyond the allure of dopamine and variable rewards, how else are social media platforms subtly shaping our behavior, turning us into habitual users? Think of a dog learning to sit on command, rewarded with a treat for good behavior. This is the essence of operant conditioning, a fundamental principle of behavioral psychology that plays a significant role in our social media habits. Through a system of rewards and punishments, social media platforms mold our online actions, often without our conscious awareness. At its core, operant conditioning involves learning through consequences. Positive reinforcement involves rewarding desired behaviors, making them more likely to occur in the future. Negative reinforcement involves removing unpleasant stimuli to encourage a behavior. Punishment, on the other hand, involves introducing an unpleasant stimulus or removing a positive one to discourage a behavior. Consider a simple example: training a dog. You give the command, sit, and when the dog complies, you reward it with a treat, positive reinforcement. If the dog whines when left alone, you might give it attention to quiet it down, negative reinforcement. If the dog bites, you might scold it, punishment. Similarly, social media platforms use these principles, though far more subtly, to shape our online behavior. Positive reinforcement abounds on social media, taking the form of rewards and recognition. Gaining followers, receiving positive comments, and achieving a high score in a game all trigger feelings of pleasure and validation, making us more likely to repeat the actions that led to those rewards. The more followers you gain, the more people see your content, the more validation you receive. The positive feedback loop reinforces the behavior of posting content and engaging with the platform. But what about negative reinforcement? How does social media alleviate discomfort or anxiety? Consider the act of checking social media to relieve boredom, feeling restless or unfulfilled. Simply open your favorite app and scroll through an endless stream of content, temporarily distracting yourself from the unpleasant feeling. This provides immediate relief, reinforcing the habit of turning to social media whenever boredom strikes. Similarly, the fear of missing out, FOMO, drives many people to compulsively check their feeds, afraid of being excluded from the latest trends or conversations. By engaging with social media, they temporarily alleviate this anxiety, further solidifying the habit. Intermittent reinforcement also plays a large role in shaping behaviors. This is when likes, comments, and notifications become unpredictable. This leads to the behavior being learned stronger and creating stronger habits. By strategically employing positive and negative reinforcement, social media platforms shape our online habits, making them incredibly difficult to break. We become conditioned to seek validation, avoid boredom, and alleviate anxiety through these digital channels. It's a powerful system that operates largely beneath the surface of our conscious awareness. We are all vulnerable to these conditioning tactics, these subtle manipulations of our behavior. But our susceptibility doesn't end there. The rabbit hole goes deeper. Are we truly rational beings, making decisions based on logic and reason? Or are we prone to irrationality, swayed by hidden biases and cognitive illusions? Let's explore the world of cognitive biases and uncover yet another layer of manipulation in the digital realm. Even if we are aware of the dopamine loops and operant conditioning at play, can we truly make rational decisions online? Or are we inherently biased, prone to systematic errors in judgment that can be easily exploited? Cognitive biases, those unconscious mental shortcuts and systematic patterns of deviation from norm or rationality in judgment, can significantly distort our perception of reality, making us vulnerable to manipulation and misinformation, especially in the highly curated and often misleading environment of social media. It's important to understand that everyone possesses these biases. They are not signs of stupidity or weakness, but rather inherent features of the human mind. These biases, however, can be exploited to influence our beliefs and behaviors. Consider the confirmation bias, our tendency to favor information that confirms our existing beliefs while ignoring or downplaying contradictory evidence. Social media algorithms, designed to maximize engagement, often amplify this bias by filtering information to match our pre-existing views. If you tend to lean to the political right, the algorithm will feed you content that reinforces right-wing viewpoints, creating a political echo chamber where opposing perspectives are rarely encountered. This can lead to increased polarization and a distorted understanding of reality. The same is true if you lean to the left, creating a dangerous divide. Another powerful bias at play is the bandwagon effect, our tendency to adopt beliefs and behaviors that are popular or trending, regardless of their validity. Social media platforms amplify this effect, creating a sense of conformity and social pressure. Trending topics, viral challenges, and online campaigns often gain momentum simply because they are already popular, regardless of their inherent value or merit. This can lead to the spread of misinformation and the suppression of dissenting opinions. The availability heuristic, another cognitive shortcut, influences our judgment based on how easily information comes to mind. Vivid or recent information tends to be overweighted, even if it is not representative of reality. Social media, with its constant stream of sensational news stories and emotionally charged content, often skews our perception of reality. Overestimating the prevalence of crime based on sensational news stories is one example of the availability heuristic being used in social media. In essence, cognitive biases act as blind spots, making us susceptible to manipulation and misinformation on social media. The confirmation bias reinforces echo chambers, the bandwagon effect promotes conformity, and the availability heuristic distorts our perception of reality. What's more, social media thrives on the emotional. The biases are the chinks in our armor, the points of weakness that these platforms exploit. By understanding these biases, we can begin to recognize their influence on our own thinking and develop strategies to mitigate their effects. However, even with this knowledge, a deeper challenge remains. For what happens when these psychological mechanisms are combined with the darkest aspects of human nature? How does social media amplify our own negativity, our envy, and our aggression? Let's explore the concept of the shadow and its manifestation in the digital world. We've seen how social media platforms utilize dopamine loops, operant conditioning, and cognitive biases to keep us hooked, constantly seeking validation, relieving boredom, and reinforcing our existing beliefs. But these mechanisms alone do not fully explain the pervasive negativity and toxicity that often plague online interactions. What if social media is not just a tool for connection and validation, but also a platform for expressing the repressed, darker aspects of our personalities, what Carl Jung termed the shadow? Social media has become fertile ground for the expression of our collective and individual shadow. The shadow, in Jungian psychology, represents the unconscious aspects of our personality that we disown or repress, including our negative emotions, unacceptable impulses, and undesirable traits. It's the dark side of our psyche, the parts of ourselves that we don't want to acknowledge or accept. Social media, with its anonymity, lack of real-world consequences, and echo chambers, provides a perfect environment for the expression of this repressed negativity. Behind the veil of a screen name, individuals often feel emboldened to express their darkest impulses, engaging in online harassment, cyberbullying, and trolling. Consider the comments section of any popular social media post. It's often a cesspool of negativity, filled with insults, personal attacks, and hateful rhetoric. The lack of face-to-face interaction and the perceived anonymity of the internet lower inhibitions, allowing the shadow to emerge unchecked. Moreover, the echo chamber effect, where individuals are primarily exposed to information that confirms their existing beliefs, can further amplify this negativity. When surrounded by like-minded individuals who share their biases and prejudices, people may feel validated in expressing their darkest thoughts and engaging in hateful behavior. Outrage and moral grandstanding are often rewarded on social media, further amplifying the shadow. Viral outrage campaigns and cancel culture often target individuals who have made a mistake or expressed an unpopular opinion, subjecting them to intense public shaming and online harassment. This creates a climate of fear and conformity, where people are afraid to express dissenting opinions or make mistakes, lest they become the next target of the online mob. The individual shadow aspects combine and grow and mutate into the collective shadow, which overtakes social media and is projected onto others. This creates mass hysteria where people are targeted, harassed, and even threatened. So, how can we become more aware of our own shadow tendencies on social media and resist the urge to project them onto others? How can we cultivate a more mindful and compassionate online presence, transforming social media from a breeding ground for negativity into a space for genuine connection and understanding? We'll explore practical strategies for mindful engagement and shadow integration, offering tools to reclaim your online experience and cultivate a more authentic and empowered digital self. But first, we must delve into the archetypal realm and uncover the hidden forces that shape our desires and motivations on social media. Have you ever felt an inexplicable pull towards certain images or stories online, a sense of recognition that transcends conscious understanding? What if these recurring motifs are not mere coincidences, but rather echoes of ancient, universal patterns deeply embedded within our collective unconscious? Social media platforms, whether intentionally or not, tap into these fundamental patterns, known as Jungian archetypes, to shape our desires, motivations, and ultimately our behavior. Carl Jung described archetypes as universal, inherited predispositions to experience and act in certain ways. They are not concrete images or ideas, but rather fundamental patterns or blueprints of the human psyche. Think of them as the underlying architecture of our minds, shaping how we perceive the world and interact with others. These archetypes manifest in myths, dreams, religious symbols, and even in our everyday lives, influencing our emotions, relationships, and life choices. Common examples include the mother archetype, representing nurturing and unconditional love; the hero archetype, embodying courage and the pursuit of achievement; the shadow archetype, representing our repressed and disowned aspects. And the trickster archetype, embodying chaos, humor, and the disruption of established norms. These archetypes resonate deeply within us because they reflect the shared experiences and challenges of humanity throughout history. Social media platforms, consciously or unconsciously, leverage these archetypal patterns to appeal to our most basic human needs and desires. The desire for belonging, the need for security, the pursuit of self-esteem, and the search for purpose, these are all fundamental human motivations that are often intertwined with archetypal imagery and narratives. Social media content, from carefully curated profiles to viral trends, often reflects and reinforces these archetypal patterns, tapping into our unconscious desires and influencing our behavior. The ethical implications of using archetypes for persuasive design and marketing are significant. Are social media platforms simply providing a platform for self-expression and connection, or are they actively exploiting our innate psychological predispositions for profit and control? This question leads us to examine specific examples of archetypes used on social media, starting with the powerful and complex figure of the Great Mother. How often do you scroll through your social media feed and encounter images of seemingly perfect mothers, radiating joy, effortlessly managing their careers and families, all while maintaining an impeccable sense of style? What if these carefully constructed images are not just harmless portrayals of motherhood, but rather manifestations of the Great Mother archetype, subtly shaping our expectations and fueling social comparison? The Great Mother archetype represents nurturing, fertility, and unconditional love, embodying both the positive and negative aspects of motherhood. On the one hand, the Great Mother is a source of comfort, nourishment, and unwavering support. She represents the ideal of maternal love, providing a sense of security and belonging. On the other hand, the Great Mother can also be smothering, controlling, and demanding, stifling individuality and independence. Social media platforms are rife with idealized images of motherhood, beauty, and domesticity. Consider the phenomenon of Instagram momfluencers, who present highly curated portrayals of their family life, showcasing picture-perfect homes, well-behaved children, and seemingly effortless parenting skills. These images, often filtered and edited to perfection, create an unrealistic standard of motherhood, leaving many women feeling inadequate and overwhelmed. Similarly, beauty filters and editing tools contribute to unrealistic beauty standards, perpetuating the idea that women must conform to a narrow definition of physical perfection to be valued and accepted. This constant exposure to perfect lives can damage self-esteem, create a sense of lack, and contribute to increased rates of depression and anxiety, particularly among young women. How can we recognize and resist the pressure to conform to these unrealistic ideals? This question leads us to the next archetype, the hero, and foreshadows practical strategies for cultivating self-acceptance. Do you find yourself drawn to stories of overnight success, tales of ordinary people achieving extraordinary fame and fortune through the power of social media? What if this fascination is not just harmless entertainment, but rather a reflection of the hero archetype, fueling our desire for validation and leading us down a path of endless striving? The hero archetype embodies courage, ambition, and the pursuit of achievement. On the one hand, the hero is driven, resourceful, and willing to overcome obstacles to achieve their goals. On the other hand, the hero can also be arrogant, self-centered, and overly focused on external validation, sacrificing authenticity and genuine connection in the pursuit of fame and recognition. Social media narratives often promote the pursuit of fame, success, and external validation. Consider the phenomenon of influencer culture, where individuals amass large followings by showcasing their talents, lifestyles, or opinions. These influencers often portray themselves as entrepreneurial heroes, building empires from scratch and achieving financial independence through the power of social media. Viral challenges and online campaigns also tap into the desire for online recognition, encouraging people to perform daring feats or express controversial opinions in exchange for fleeting moments of internet fame. But what are the negative consequences of chasing external validation? The constant pressure to perform, to maintain a perfect online persona, and to compete for attention can lead to burnout, anxiety, and a loss of authenticity. Many influencers have struggled with mental health issues due to the relentless pressure of online scrutiny and the constant need to create engaging content. Furthermore, the internet is filled with get-rich-quick schemes that manipulate the hero archetype's dark side. The goal isn't opportunity, but rather deception and manipulation. How can we cultivate a more intrinsic sense of self-worth that is not dependent on external validation? In essence, social media platforms exploit archetypal patterns, dopamine loops, operant conditioning, and cognitive biases to maximize engagement and profit. These mechanisms are interconnected, each reinforcing the other, creating a powerful system of manipulation that can lead to addiction, shadow projection, and hinder the journey toward individuation. Reclaiming mental autonomy in the digital age is therefore of utmost importance. How can we become more aware of these influences and cultivate a more mindful and authentic relationship with technology? Consider your own social media usage and its impact on your life. In the following sections, we will offer practical strategies for mindful engagement, shadow integration, and reclaiming control of your attention and your life, building anticipation and signaling continued value. Have you ever felt an unquenchable thirst while scrolling through social media, a nagging feeling that something is missing despite the endless stream of content? What if this persistent dissatisfaction is not just a personal quirk, but a manifestation of the hungry ghost archetype, an ancient symbol of insatiable craving? Buddhist philosophy describes hungry ghosts as beings with enormous, empty bellies, but tiny mouths and long, thin necks, forever tormented by their inability to satisfy their hunger. This grotesque imagery serves as a potent metaphor for the human condition, representing our unmet needs and the endless pursuit of fulfillment in external things, a pursuit that social media seems designed to exploit. Could our endless scrolling and compulsive checking be a manifestation of this hungry ghost within us? Genuine spiritual hunger, the yearning for meaning and connection to something larger than oneself, stands in stark contrast to the distorted cravings amplified by social media. Social media platforms, preying on our desire for connection, recognition, and meaning, often offer only superficial substitutes for authentic fulfillment. While genuine connection involves vulnerability, empathy, and mutual support, the interactions found on social media platforms are often curated, performative, and transactional. Likes, comments, and followers become metrics of self-worth, and the pursuit of these digital accolades can lead to a profound sense of emptiness. The dopamine rush we experience from social media rewards is fleeting, leaving us craving more and more stimulation to recapture that initial high. This cycle of seeking external validation and fleeting pleasure perpetuates a sense of dissatisfaction, keeping us trapped in a loop of endless consumption. Social media, at its core, exploits our inherent desire for more, leading to a cycle of addiction and dissatisfaction. Social comparison, the act of comparing ourselves to others, is a natural human tendency. However, social media amplifies this tendency to an extreme degree, exposing us to a constant stream of curated images and narratives that often present unrealistic portrayals of wealth, beauty, and success. This constant exposure can lead to feelings of inadequacy, envy, and the desire for more possessions, experiences, or social status. Furthermore, the scarcity mindset, the belief that resources are limited and that we must compete with others to obtain them, is also fueled by social media. The fear of missing out, FOMO, the anxiety that we are missing out on exciting or rewarding experiences, drives us to compulsively check social media, ensuring that we are always in the loop. Consider, for instance, How infinite scroll, a ubiquitous feature of social media platforms, creates a sense of endless possibility, constantly promising new and exciting content just a swipe away. This feature, designed to keep us engaged for as long as possible, taps into our innate desire for novelty and stimulation. Personalized content feeds, driven by algorithms that analyze our browsing history, cater to our existing desires and biases, reinforcing our cravings and creating echo chambers of information. Notifications, those little red badges that pop up on our screens, trigger a sense of urgency and the need to constantly check for updates. Each notification promises a potential reward, whether it's a like, a comment, or a new message, keeping us hooked and perpetually distracted. Why, in a world of unprecedented connectivity, are so many people feeling increasingly isolated and unfulfilled? Social media creates a bottomless pit of desire, leaving users feeling perpetually unsatisfied. The phenomenon of comparisonitis, the constant exposure to idealized images of wealth, beauty, and success, leads to feelings of inadequacy and envy. We see images of luxurious vacations, flawless bodies, and seemingly perfect relationships, and we can't help but compare ourselves to these unrealistic standards. This constant comparison damages our self-esteem and mental well-being, leading to increased rates of depression and anxiety. The cycle of seeking external validation through likes and comments further exacerbates this problem. We post a photo, a status update, or a witty comment, and we eagerly await the response. The dopamine rush we experience from each like or comment is temporary and ultimately unfulfilling. Statistics show a clear correlation between social media use and increased rates of depression and anxiety, particularly among young adults. Influencer culture also plays a significant role in perpetuating the hungry ghost mentality. Influencers, often portraying themselves as aspirational figures, constantly promote consumerism and the pursuit of external success, driving consumption. They use manipulative marketing tactics to create desire and drive consumption, convincing us that we need the latest gadgets, fashion trends, or beauty products to be happy and successful. Social media addiction shares similar psychological mechanisms with other forms of addiction, such as gambling or substance abuse. Research on the neurological similarities between social media addiction and other addictive behaviors reveals that the same reward pathways in the brain are activated by social media use as are activated by drugs or gambling. This explains why it can be so difficult to break free from the cycle of social media addiction, as our brains are wired to seek out these rewards, regardless of the negative consequences. In essence, the hungry ghost archetype, the psychology of more, and the features of social media platforms all converge to create a powerful system of manipulation that exploits our deepest desires and vulnerabilities. Social media taps into our innate longing for connection, recognition, and meaning, but it often provides only superficial substitutes that leave us feeling perpetually unsatisfied. This leads to a cycle of addiction and dissatisfaction, where we are constantly chasing the next like, comment, or notification, hoping to fill the void within. But how can we tame the hungry ghost within us and find lasting fulfillment in a world saturated with social media? In the following sections, we will explore practical strategies for breaking free from this cycle and cultivating a healthier relationship with technology. We will discuss the concepts of mindful engagement, digital detox, and cultivating authentic connection, promising actionable steps you can take to reclaim your mental autonomy and find greater meaning and purpose in your lives. By recognizing these patterns within ourselves and integrating our shadow, we can move towards digital sobriety. If social media is subtly rewiring our brains, can we rewire them back? Is it possible to reclaim our attention and agency in a world designed to steal it? Mindful engagement offers a proactive strategy for navigating the digital landscape, a conscious effort to be present and intentional with our online interactions, transforming us from passive consumers into active participants. It is, in essence, reclaiming the driver's seat of your own mind. But what does mindful engagement really mean? It begins with becoming acutely aware of your triggers and habitual patterns on social media. What are the specific cues or situations that lead you to mindlessly scroll or compulsively check your phone? Is it the ping of a notification, the lull of boredom, or the urge to escape from an uncomfortable feeling? Self-observation is paramount, and techniques such as journaling can be invaluable in identifying these patterns. By paying attention to your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors in the moment, you can begin to break free from the automatic responses that drive your social media use. Consider keeping a social media journal for a week, noting each time you use a platform, how long you spend there, and what emotions or sensations triggered your use. You may begin to see patterns you never noticed before. Mindful engagement can be broken down into 3 actionable components: awareness, intention, and conscious choice. Awareness is the ability to observe your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors without judgment, simply noticing what is happening in the present moment. Intention involves setting clear goals for your social media use and aligning your actions with your values. Conscious choice is making deliberate decisions about how you spend your time and energy online, rather than acting on impulse or habit. These 3 pillars, working in concert, form a solid foundation for a healthier relationship with technology. For example, awareness might involve noticing the physical sensations of anxiety or boredom that lead to compulsive checking. Perhaps you feel a tightening in your chest or a restlessness in your legs. By simply acknowledging these sensations without acting on them, you create space for a different response. Intention could involve deciding to use social media for connecting with friends and family rather than comparing yourself to others. You might set a goal of posting one encouraging message or reaching out to someone you care about each day. Choice means selecting specific times for social media use and avoiding it at other times, such as turning off notifications during work hours or designating a tech-free zone in your home. If you struggle with comparisonitis on Instagram, your intention might be to connect with friends and family. Your conscious choice might be to unfollow accounts that trigger negative emotions or promote unrealistic ideals. Putting mindful engagement into practice requires consistent effort and self-compassion. Use a timer to track how much time you spend on social media each day, providing a concrete measure of your usage patterns. Unfollow accounts that trigger negative emotions or promote unrealistic ideals, curating your feed to support your well-being. Turn off notifications to reduce distractions and regain control of your attention, allowing you to focus on the present moment. Practice mindful breathing before and during social media use, taking a few deep breaths to center yourself and observe your thoughts and feelings. Take regular breaks to stretch, move, or engage in other activities, reminding yourself that there is a world beyond the screen. Reflect on your experiences and adjust your strategies as needed, recognizing that mindful engagement is an ongoing process. Most importantly, remember to practice self-compassion and avoid self-criticism when you slip up. Change takes time and effort, and setbacks are a normal part of the process. In essence, mindful engagement is about reclaiming your attention and agency in a world that is constantly vying for your focus. By cultivating awareness, setting intentions, and making conscious choices, you can transform your relationship with social media and create a more balanced and fulfilling life. But if mindful engagement is about navigating social media consciously, what if we need to step away from it entirely? What if, like an alcoholic needing to abstain, we need to completely reset our system? Digital detox offers a powerful tool for resetting the brain and breaking free from addictive patterns. It's about giving your mind a break from the constant stimulation and information overload of the digital world, rediscovering the world beyond the screen and allowing yourself to simply be. A digital detox is more than just reducing screen time. It's about intentionally creating space for other activities and experiences, rediscovering hobbies, connecting with nature, or simply enjoying moments of quiet contemplation. What would you do with an extra hour, or day, or week, if you weren't spending it on social media? Would you read a book, go for a walk, spend time with loved ones, or pursue a passion project? There are different types of digital detox, ranging from cold turkey approaches to gradual reduction strategies. A cold turkey detox involves completely disconnecting from all digital devices and platforms for a set period of time, while a gradual reduction approach involves slowly decreasing your screen time and social media use over time. The best approach depends on individual needs and preferences. For some, a complete break is necessary to break free from addictive patterns, while others find it more manageable to gradually reduce their usage. What is important is consistency in whatever path you chose. Planning and implementing a digital detox requires careful consideration and preparation. Start by setting clear goals and intentions for your detox, identifying what you hope to achieve and what you want to experience during your time offline. Choose a specific duration for your detox, whether it's 1 day, 1 week, or 1 month, and communicate your plans to friends and family so they know you'll be less responsive during that time. Identify potential challenges and develop strategies for overcoming them, such as finding alternative activities to fill your time or enlisting the support of a friend or family member. Address common concerns and misconceptions about digital detox, such as the fear of missing out or the belief that it's impossible to disconnect completely, and remind yourself of the benefits you hope to gain. The benefits of disconnecting can be profound, impacting your mental health, focus, creativity, and relationships. Consider the case of a young woman who struggled with anxiety and depression due to constant social media comparison. After a 1-week digital detox, she reported feeling more present, relaxed, and connected to her real-world relationships. She also discovered a newfound appreciation for nature and spent more time pursuing her hobbies. Research on the neurological benefits of reducing screen time and engaging in real-world activities has shown improvements in attention span, memory, and cognitive function. Digital detox can help you reduce stress and anxiety, improve sleep quality, enhance creativity and productivity, strengthen relationships with loved ones, and rediscover your passions and interests. Moreover, increased mindfulness and decreased social media use are often found in those overcoming addiction. In short, digital detox is a powerful tool for resetting your brain and breaking free from addictive patterns, creating space for more meaningful experiences and fostering a healthier relationship with technology. But what happens when we put down our devices? How do we fill the void and build meaningful relationships in the real world? If social media has been our primary means of connection, where do we turn when we disconnect? Cultivating authentic connection offers a way to combat social isolation and build meaningful relationships beyond the screen. While digital interactions can provide a sense of connection, they often lack the depth, vulnerability, and empathy of in-person experiences. Authentic connection involves sharing your true self, listening with compassion, and engaging in shared experiences that create genuine bonds. Moreover, without these techniques, we are doomed to project our shadow onto others, further alienating ourselves. How can we move beyond surface-level interactions and create genuine bonds with others? Building authentic connections requires intentional effort and a willingness to be vulnerable. Start by identifying shared values and interests, seeking out communities and activities that align with your passions. Practice vulnerability by sharing your authentic self, expressing your thoughts and feelings honestly and openly. Engage in meaningful conversations and active listening, paying attention to what others are saying and responding with empathy and understanding. Participate in activities and communities that align with your values, whether it's volunteering, joining a book club, or taking a class. Prioritize face-to-face interactions over online communication, making time to connect with loved ones in person. Overcoming social anxiety can be a challenge, but practical tips such as starting small, practicing active listening, and focusing on shared interests can help you initiate conversations and build confidence. Engage with a local club, volunteer for a cause you believe in, or take a class on a topic that interests you. Research consistently demonstrates the profound benefits of authentic connection, revealing how strong social connections contribute to improved mental and physical health. Studies have shown that people with strong social support systems tend to have lower rates of depression, anxiety, and chronic illness. Consider the example of a man who struggled with loneliness and isolation after moving to a new city. By joining a local hiking group, he not only improved his physical fitness, but also formed lasting friendships with like-minded individuals. Authentic connection can reduce feelings of loneliness and isolation, increase self-esteem and confidence, provide meaning and purpose in your life, and build a strong support system. It is critical, however, to differentiate between authentic relationships and parasocial ones, the illusion of intimacy created with media personalities. In short, cultivating authentic connection is essential for combating social isolation and building a fulfilling life, offering a path towards genuine human interaction and a stronger sense of belonging. But how does our dark side relate to our connections with others? How does social media impact our shadow, and how does this impact our relationships? Recognizing the need for shadow integration is essential for having true relationships, but it's also necessary for self-acceptance. In bringing these threads together, it becomes clear that social media is not merely a collection of neutral platforms. It is a landscape carefully cultivated to exploit our psychological vulnerabilities. We have explored the intricate mechanisms by which these platforms hijack our attention, manipulate our emotions, and subtly reshape our sense of self. From dopamine-driven feedback loops to the insidious power of social comparison, we have seen how these tools can amplify our shadows and fuel an insatiable hunger for validation. But what does this mean, and what can we do? At its core, social media leverages a potent cocktail of psychological principles, each designed to maximize engagement and keep us tethered to our screens. Dopamine manipulation keeps us chasing likes and notifications, while operant conditioning subtly shapes our behavior through variable rewards. Cognitive biases distort our perceptions, leading us to believe what we see, while archetypal exploitation taps into our deepest desires and longings. The common thread is the insatiable need for validation. As a result, platforms foster an environment where we're compelled to present curated versions of ourselves, deepening our sense of isolation and disconnection. Remember our initial questions. Are we truly free in the digital realm, or are we subtly being controlled? Has social media become the puppet master, and are we merely dancing to its tune? Through this exploration, we've uncovered the intricate psychological forces at play, gaining a deeper understanding of how these platforms shape our perceptions and behaviors. The good news is that by becoming aware of these mechanisms, we empower ourselves to resist their influence, reclaim our mental autonomy, and embark on a journey toward digital sobriety. We are now more connected than ever before, yet many feel profoundly alone and unseen. In our quest for digital connection, we risk losing touch with the authentic connections that truly nourish our souls. Our journey through the digital landscape reflects the timeless human struggle to find our place in the world, to connect with others, and to understand ourselves. We find ourselves chasing shadows on a screen when we could be embracing the light within. Reclaiming your mind, therefore, is like taking back the reins of your own life, choosing your own path, and writing your own story. As you move forward, consider the impact of social media on your own well-being and relationships. I encourage you to take small, manageable steps toward mindful engagement, digital detox, and cultivating authentic connection. Try setting a 30-minute daily limit on social media and notice how you feel. Carve out time for activities that nourish your soul, whether it's spending time in nature, pursuing a creative hobby, or connecting with loved ones in person. Imagine a world where technology serves humanity rather than the other way around, where we are masters of our devices, not slaves to them, and where we foster a culture of empathy, authenticity, and genuine connection. Thank you for joining me on this exploration.